The views and opinions of the hosts and resource persons do not represent those of the organization, the university, and its stakeholders. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sa akin, LSCS, as much as it's an org, it's always been a family to me. It's a family that's always worth the effort and time and yung passion na na-pour in ng mga officers.
Welcome back to another episode of the Nook podcast. So today's episode will be very interesting and I'm honored to host this episode in celebration of our 35th year anniversary here in LSCS. So, and if hindi nyo pa alam at this point, so I am Rebecalyn Lao, your host and the current LSCS president. Joined here with me today are some special guests, so would you guys want to introduce yourselves?
So, thanks Reb. So I'm Bertel. I was the president of LSCS previously for year 2018 to 2019.
Hi, I'm Raisa. I was the president of LSCS in 2017.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I was the president of LSCS year 2012 to 2013.
All right. Hi, I'm JB. I'm the executive vice president during the school year 2005-2006.
So this is actually a very rare occasion for all of us to have this set of officers from different generations in one space to syempre talk about LSCS and to know more about LSCS and what LSCS was like in the past then. So ayun. So I just wanted to start with sharing, like when I was in Frosh, when I heard LSCS, I knew that it was the biggest organization agad in CCS. So parang there's this impact na parang, oh, cool nung org. Like, that's the org I want to be in. Ayun. Parang, I just wanted to ask then, during your time, when you were in college pa and during your Frosh years, what comes into your mind when you hear LSCS?
I think for me, honestly, kasi walang ibang choice. Tapos alam mo yung computer study student ka, tapos yung only option mo lang na org is LSCS. So for me, medyo hindi ako na-entice. Kasi parang pinag-aaralan ko na nga to, tapos ito pa yung gagawin kong hobby. Parang masyadong OA, di ba? So nung una, hindi ko talaga siya masyadong pinansin, pero nag-join ako for the hype kasi may membership card, di ba? Tapos cute, may mga perks, ganyan. So sobrang medyo hindi ganun ka-interesting yung unang impression ko kay LSCS.
So for me, I really wanted to join LSCS as an organization because a lot of people in my higher batches were mentioning that, hey, join organizations. It will be the most memorable things in your college life. And since LSCS is the main choice that I have at that time, na parang, oh, this is the one that I get to be most related to. And I know some of the higher batches has already joined this organization. Kaya I feel that, hey, I should try out this organization and be a part of it. So parang di pa ako nag-join ng college, but people were already telling me about it. So I was enticed to join when I started my Frosh year. Mm-hmm.
Hype na sa start parang same.
So for me, I was not intending to be active in any organization when I joined college. So LSCS for me was a membership card. Kasi cool yung membership card non transparent, if I remember it right. At the same time, Maki. That's how I remember, no? So laging may mascot na Maki or may logo na Maki whenever LSCS had events during that time.
Maki was enticing pala.
Partida desktop pa siya dun
Yeah.
Sa akin, nung first ako nag-join ng first time I heard of LSCS, actually parang lang siya org among many orgs. Siguro kasi normally pagka-fresh ka, diba, you're overwhelmed with a lot of things. So you want to be part of something, and that something happened to be LSCS among many things. So medyo same kay Ate Sal sa kay JB na nag-join ako for the hype. At the same time, interested din ako what's up with LSCS apart from its cool cards.
Mm-hmm. It's cool to hear yung parang sa start, some of us didn't really intend to join pa. Tapos we ended up with such positions in the end, like right before we leave college. That's very interesting. So during your time in LSCS, what is or what are some of your fondest memories?
Parang ang dami. Actually, ako, honestly, yung mismong pag-join ko ng LSCS, sobrang memorable siya kasi medyo different story yung akin kasi never ako naging member ng LSCS. I mean, never ako naging officer ng LSCS. Instant president, kumbaga. Kasi galing ako actually sa student government. So, hindi ako sure if pareho sa inyo yung setup, pero hati kasi yung space ng student government sa LSCS. Tapos, nung student government kasi ako, lahat ng activities na pinaplan namin, parang academic related, bawal. Kasi nga, dapat pag something na ganun, kailangan ka kay LSCS. So, ang dami naming time na parang magko-collaborate kami kay LSCS. Tapos at that time, very competitive kasi there's a competition between student government and yung orgs. So, padamihan kami ng projects nung time na yun. Tapos nung naging president ako ng LSCS, na-maintain yung hype na yun, the friendly competition between yung CSG tsaka yung org. So, yung mga activities namin doon dati before, ayoko kasi ng puro reviewer lang, yung mga tutorials kasi one of the things na known ng LSCS for was yung mga academic activities reviewers sa group study, ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, sobrang boring, typical. Kasi nga, because I was from the student government, hindi kami friends. So, sabi ko, nung lumipat ako ng LSCS, I wanted to be bigger, I wanted to be funner. So, I tried mixing up yung elements of fun and yung academics in it. Kaya nag-overlap kami with activities, and I think yun yung start talaga when I think for us, yung LSCS evolved sobrang I think ang daming activities, not just for yung mga officers but also for the students. So every week, every month may big activity, and I think that was very fun, yung mismong organizing events for the students.
Wow, that's so nice. But it wasn't tiring every week.
It was tiring. As in, nauubusan kami ng booth man. Yung, may mga ganon. Tapos yung mga papers, yung papunta sa S-Life. Dati S-Life, nasa malayo pa kasi. So, pabalik-balik kami. Di ba kapag CCS ka, ayaw mo umalis ng GOX? So, ganun kami. So, ayun.
Same pa din na till the end, S-Life was like super layo pa rin sa GOX.
Yun yung workout, no?
Luckily for us, it's online. So, email na lang. Ayun, how about for the others?
Ako siguro medyo same kay Sabs na if you're gonna ask that question, yung fondest memory, there's too many to mention. But if formally speaking, pinaka naalala ko is yung Spark saka yung Tech Summit 2016, I think. Yun yung flagship events before ako naging president. So, before nung term ko. Particularly fond siya sa akin kasi similar to Sabs, hindi siya typical story, yung adventure ko. So, actually, nung nag-join ako ng JO, isa ako sa mga hindi agad na-promote into next officer. Tapos, similarly, parang AVP lang ako na medyo, actually nawawala ako. like active, pero kasi corporate relations in terms of yung mga activities namin that time. Medyo madalang siya. So, naalala ko yung 2 particular flagship events because yun yung first ko naging very involved sa LSCS. And I got to meet a lot of people there. And apart from that, actually yung mga na-meet ko doon ng mga tao, doon ko na feel yung passion ng LSCS in such a way na yung passion nila to help, to create something for other people. I really enjoyed getting to know them and making those 2 big events happen in a span of how many months. It was priceless for me.
Oh,
Yun.
that's so nice. I wanna sing it lang rin. Kasi Ate Raisa mentioned yung Tech Summit 2016. Back then, I was in grade 11, grade 10, mga ganun pa ata. But then, our school kasi was invited for it. So, I actually attended Tech Summit 2016. Like, I went to LaSalle as an external participant pa nun. Tapos, I didn't know na LSCS event siya until I was like a frosh na. Like, I entered LaSalle. Tapos, nasa LSCS na ako. Tapos, nakita ko si LSCS nag-post ng Tech Summit CENTCOM recruitment. I'm like, yan yung pinuntahan ko. Tapos, sobrang na-attach ako sa LSCS and Tech Summit ng extra because of that. Wala lang. I just had to share.
Sobrang nakaka-warm kasi yung event na yun, hindi ko alam pero onti lang kasi yung flagship events ng LSCS before. Tapos, yun kasi yung nag-start siya, hindi ko alam kung sa amin officially nag-start, pero year before kasi walang ganun. So, sabi ko, kasi, friends ko yung mga sumunod na president, sabi ko, huy, tuloy nyo to kasi, tuloy nyo to kasi gusto ko siya. Kasi, nung time na pinlan namin yung Tech Summit, November yun eh. So, sabi ko, November birthday ko, gusto ko maraming events si LSCS na big. So, ang nangyari nun was Tech Summit, tapos Casual Thursday, which is yung acoustic night, tapos basta sunod-sunod siya. Tapos CCS month din kasi nun. So, ayoko magpatalo. Gusto ko madaming events si LSCS. So, isa doon yung Tech Summit. Tapos nakipagtayo pa ako sa lahat ng possible hindi sila official orgs ng CCS eh. Parang may mga mini orgs si CCS, yung mga research labs. So, nakipagtayo pa ako. Tapos, hindi kami masyadong, parang sobrang nag-effort nga lahat ng officers for that kasi ang dami mong kailangan other members na i-involve doon. Hindi lang siya in school eh. Kasama siya sa corporate world. As a student, hindi ka pa woke sa mga ganun. Wala ka pa namang connection. So parang yun talaga yung another step mo to the real world. Tapos yun nga, it's so nice to hear na parang tumuloy-tuloy siya, I think, up to this year.
Yeah.
Buhay pa rin siya. So parang wow, nice.
Yeah. Oh, sarap sa feeling. Ayun. How about, let's go back to some fondest memories of others.
Yep. Yeah, I can share next. So for me, it's the year of my VP and president. A lot of things, so much things has happened over the past year, over those 2 years. Syempre, every year is memorable naman since 4 years of my college life, parang yun, I joined LSCS and it's the organization that stick with me really. Ever since I joined college hanggang 4th year, parang every year I learn something new. Every year I grow more. And in terms of parang fondest memories is really those 2 years kasi we really tried to raise the bar. And I'm so glad that everyone who was onboarded with me in my team really took the challenge, like, oh, let's go, let's step it up. It changed natin yung norm. So it's like there were some previous changes that we had to make, like how do we try to make everything more efficient? How do we take this thing being done currently to the next level? So let's not just stick with what we can do right now, but let's take it to the next level, bring out what we can show to the entire DLSU community that LSCS can make a mark despite it being just a computer organization. So we don't want to stick with the normal na, goks lang sila, we don't know this organization.
Mm-mm. Cool. Nag-stick talaga si LSCS after nun.
So my story is very similar to Sabrina. No, I was not a loyal LSCS member at the beginning of my LaSalle days. I was more active in the student council. But then after my third year, I said I really wanted to have a different environment and a broader scope. Mag-apply kaya ako as president of LSCS. So it was just something parang okay, naisip ko lang one day. I joined from time to time several events ng LSCS pero I was really not active. I knew some people, parang some of my batchmates were active. But other than that, parang wala talaga akong affiliation until I decided to be the president of LSCS. I think three things that I now that I look back that were fondest for me. One is during my application. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show The Apprentice. Uso siya during my times. Yung si Donald Trump was the host of that show. And meron siyang kino-coach na mga people who will do parang business. So at the time, the people who were applying for presidency were put into an apprentice show together with our team of people who are applying also for officer. So I was the dark horse. Parang sino ba tong tao na to na gusto maging president that were not active, no? But at the same time, it was fun because it's the first time for me to meet a lot of people. And yun, I mean, we had to do 3 projects to complete our apprenticeship. So yun yung una. Eventually, I did not land as the president, but I'm still happy that I was the executive vice president. More or less the second in command, no? Parang okay lang naman, no? Parang it was really aiming for the stars. Then I think the second fondest memory ko will be when we had our team building and planning at the start of the year, because that's the time that I really met the entire leadership group of LSCS or the execcom. So it was held in Laguna, a lot of fun stuff. Okay, that naalala ko pa, pumila kami sa McDo at midnight sa drive-thru ng McDo. And then lastly is yung simple things that pag tumatambay ka sa Nook, sa students Nook, and you get to chit-chat with your friends, no, during your break. So that's, I think, a good parang break, rushing through thesis, rushing through your academics. So yun yung mga fondest memory ko.
Parang always that I feel like everyone here staying at Nook is the most memorable time of being part of LSCS. Oh, parang tayo lang in my office.
Biggest perk talaga. And yun yung sobrang sad about online. And so yung parang nawala yung element of students, no? Which we tried to replicate, I guess, through Discord since online na. But yeah, that's the best that we can do with our setup, sadly.
Alam niyo ba, I'm not sure if same sa inyo, pero nung time ko kasi, super small bodega lang siya. Kasi there are 2 doors there. Yung first, yung door na nakahati is, ginagamit siya ng faculty as storage for their files. And then the other one, talagang tambakan ng mga shirts na hindi nabenta. Yung talagang storage. So, nung naging president ako ng LSCS, sabi ko, space. May space. Baka pwede natin linisin. Tapos, so inalis namin lahat ng gamit. Yung mga computers doon, yung student government kasi nag-collect. Tapos tinambak lang nila doon. So parang kami, donate natin kasi gumawa sila ng child-friendly spaces sa somewhere barangay near LaSalle. So, dinonate namin lahat, inayos muna namin lahat ng computers, tapos dinonate namin, gumawa kami ng LAN cables and everything. Nirepurpose namin lahat yun. So, dinonate namin siya for yung, kalimutan ko na yung tawag, yung nagtuturo, clip, yun. parang yun yung start na nagtuturo kami every week doon sa barangay. Tapos, pati yung mga may book donation drive pa doon na hindi naman din nadala pa. So, dinala rin namin lahat doon sa place. Tapos, yung mga old shirts, nirepurpose namin for something. Tapos, nalinis na namin. Tapos, biglang bumagyo. Tapos, bumaha. Tapos pumasok dun sa storage yung mga hindi pa kami completely tapos maglinis. So yung mga shirts na naiwan na hindi pa ready, nabasa sila lahat. Tapos alam niyo yung may daga pa dun sa may dulo na nakatira, parang may nest. So ewan ko kung anong itsura namin nun, pero alam niyo yung feeling ng mga estudyante na talagang basang-basa tapos madungis and everything, tapos papasok pa kami sa class nun. So unti-unti talaga naming nalinis, and I think every year, every next president, palaki yung Nook. Parang may nagtibag ng pader hanggang sa may meeting room na doon. Hindi ko alam sinong president yun, pero sobrang wow. Ang laki nung involved nung Nook.
Actually, that was the inspiration din ng title of this podcast. So, Inner Nook Podcast. Yung, like the one you mentioned, yung sa bodega side, eventually may nag-turn nung para siyang meeting room, ganun style na. And then, usually dun kasi nangyayari yung mga chikahan ng mga officers, like yung mga heart-to-heart talks, ayun. So that's why Jarrett was inspired to name the podcast after that. Ayun. So nice to hear yung 360 involvement of the Nook.
Dati bodega lang talaga siya, I swear. Hindi ko after nung year namin, ang galing nung nag-change kasi tinibag niya talaga yung wall. Thank you din sa faculty kasi pinabayaan. Kasi may files talaga sila doon, tas mga old thesis ata siya. So sabi nila, we can use the room naman completely daw.
Year ni Miggy, diba? If I'm not mistaken. Maybe si Raisa na yung nakaabot. I think during your time span, Raisa.
Nung time namin, medyo magulo rin eh. Pero before I left, I think I really allotted a few Saturdays to clean it up with yung mga officers na for the next year. So sila yung in charge dun sa nag-redesign. And actually, more of tinake out ko lang yung trash, tapos I let them design it. Sila yata yung nag-design ng format na may legit table na.
Parang yung
Yung
initiation ng
wall din ba na
president
natibag?
ata.
Tapos nanghingi rin kami ng mga yung mga furniture for the officers to use kasi merong wood shop near dun
sa STRC.
Wow!
Tapos nung year ko, alam ko, parang kasi yung form dev parang nawala na. Like, naging official course na yung year ko. So parang inakyat na namin dun sa form dev yung mga props. So parang naging malinis na yung inner Nook. So sobrang luwag na. Kasi lahat parang singit lang ng singit. Like after ng tech summit, singit.
singit lang, tambak lang.
So parang inakyat namin
Yung
sa form dev.
storage pala ulit siya.
Oo. So yung storage ngayon nasa 4th floor na, like everything nandun. I don't know now at least. Pero noong time ko, like inakyat namin lahat. Tapos sa baba, parang, okay, documents talaga yung everyday use.
Yeah, ganun din. And then, before quarantine, Nook was actually very messy. And we planned a Nook cleanup na. Kaso lang nag-quarantine. So, ayun, we don't know the state of Nook right now. Probably super gulo pa rin niya. Ayun, we actually use it as a punishment for our officers. Just wanted to share. Like, pag maraming pending documents, ang punishment is no clean up.
Oh no.
Ayun na.
At least hindi na bumabaha.
Yes. Actually, yeah, that's one thing we didn't get to experience, yung binaha si Nook. So, that's a good part on our end.
Yun yata yung isa sa mga nilinis before na
Yung sa may hagdan sa likod?
Yep.
May gate kasi doon.
Yep.
Oh.
So, may time na nagsaswimming talaga yung mga props and everything.
So sad.
Kaya minsan nag-a-avoid din talaga kami maglagay. Lalo na yung immediate ilalim ng stairs, no? Yun yung binabaha dati.
Okay. So, going back, it's nice to hear all our stories, as well as then the officership journey of CJB, Sabrina, and Raisa. Because I didn't expect, like, I thought talaga na halos lahat tayo medyo same na parang, ever since parang we started early, tas parang dedicated all throughout. Kasi for me, personally, I have, like, very similar journey as Bertel, like, JO, tapos AVP, TND, VP, TND, tapos President, like, very similar, like, same na same doon. Ayun. Pero I wanted to ask then, parang what were the challenges that you experienced during your officership?
Syempre, hindi, I think for me, kasi hindi ako LSCS before. So, parang syempre, wala akong kilala. Tapos, how will you lead people if you don't know them, di ba?
Yeah.
So, I think as nung start, sobrang nag-struggle talaga ako. Pero meron ako yung EVP ko sa social services. Social civic. Sorry, social civic. Naging eventual thesis mate ko siya. Tapos sobrang kind niya kasi talaga. Tapos siya yung parang, at least everyone actually game together na parang, sige, let's give this a try. Lahat naman tayo new officers eh. Tapos parang, since it's always nice to have someone na pwede kang maging confident muna, na maging close with ka. Tapos parang siya yung mag-i-introduce sa'yo dun sa or mag-welcome sa'yo dun sa group. So, yun yung pinaka naging struggle ko at first, was to create a good chemistry with everyone sa team. And I think when you have good chemistry already with your co-officers, you guys will be able to make great projects. And malayo yung, parang it will radiate with the students how much passion you guys give sa mga ginagawa nyo. Other than that, yung sa personal part, uso kasi yung parang, because LSCS was the only organization at that time, a lot of other organizations of the same team wanted din na ma-accredit. Parang, syempre, as a part of the group, parang hindi ba enough yung ginagawa namin? Parang hindi ba sapat yung LSCS to fulfill yung gusto nyo as an organization? Kasi covered namin yung mga hinihingi ng ibang students, pero they still wanted to create other organizations. Kasi in CCS, we have different courses. So parang they wanted na parang, gusto ko special lang for this, special lang for that. So it was a challenge na how will you cater to all the specializations? Parang, syempre, kapag IST, iba gusto nila, iba trip nila. Kapag INSYS, lalo na yung mga INSYS, ibang-iba yung nila. So, they really wanted to break away kasi iba yung subjects nila eh. So, yun yung yun yung mga challenges na I think up to this day I'm assuming will keep you up your toes to keep thinking of innovative projects that will capture the interest of all students. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, weekly yung projects na nilalabas namin kasi paano may mali-left out eh. And you don't want any students to get left out kasi as LSCS, in charge ka sa lahat. Ikaw lang eh. So you have to have the representation for everyone.
And I'm glad to share one of those things that we tried naman during our year. Regarding to that is we really tried to reach out to each professors from each department. Like, okay, we before start of each term, like every 2 weeks before start of each term, hey profs from all the different subjects na, what are the things you want? So, ma-feel nila involved na, yung prof nag-encourage kaya, join this event from LSCS. Galing from IT prof, INSYS prof, ito yung related to my subject, I'll give you incentive if you attend kasi this is really what I want you to learn. And instead of professors be the one looking for speakers, being the professional organization of the college, we try to reach out to profs then, hey, we'll manage the event for you. At least pa-attend mo yung students mo. So, in terms of academic events, it's also helping us to comply as well with the CSO standards of being academic. You need to have 60% academic activity, 40% org, it really helps us like gather the sufficient number of participants without us having to always, oh, may attend ba, pipilit ba kami ng tao to attend. It really boosts the visibility of the organization throughout all the courses, which is something that is really nice, I would say, na nice initiative to parang get recognized by the professor that, hey, and there's an organization that can help me organize these events, that I don't have to be the one personally finding speakers, organizing a date, setting a date in order for them to attend. Kasi if parang prof salam ko, like they're required to schedule everything on a Monday to Thursday versus us organizations. Pag pinasa sa atin, pwede tayo mag Friday, Saturday. It's up to us to manage the event or whenever we want to schedule it.
Our time was the 20th anniversary of LSCS. Parang tagal na, di ba? And we wanted to make it big then. So we planned for, first term pa lang, we were already planning for 20 activities to be done in 1 week. In celebration of 2020. Kaso, nung first term, so second term namin balak gawin yun. Nung first term pa lang, ewan ko kung ginagawa niyo po ito ngayon, yung Know Your PC.
Oh, no,
merong program na dati, it's called Know Your PC. Kung binabaklas mo yung PC mo, then we teach people the different parts of the PC, no? And 5 rooms were reserved for that program. For some reason, di ko na maalala ano nangyari. That entire program was cancelled. Di ba bawal parang mag-cancel ng reservation? So na-block na kami the entire year.
No.
And inisip namin, paano ba namin i-execute ng 20 activities namin for LSCS? So that was probably the biggest parang boo-boo for the entire year. So what we did was to partner with a lot of different organizations and use them to do the reservations with Ate Rita. Ewan ko kung nandyan pa si Ate Rita hanggang ngayon. So she was the one processing all the reservations para lang malusutan tong challenge namin. But it was fun, no? Figuring out how to go about this. And we were still managed to execute 20 activities for the LSCS week. So yun. That was one big, pati sa engineering ata nakikipag-partner kami para mairaos yung week na yun.
Doon pala nag-start yung LSCS reaching out to batch govs to ask for help sa pag-reserve ng venues. We also do that. Pero yung difference, I guess, ngayon is everything's online na. Well, yung like before mag-quarantine, yung reservation is through MLS na. So, pero we also ask help sa batch gov kasi may limit din kung how many venues lang pwede i-reserve at a time. Ayun.
Tapos may bayad yung iba.
Oo, ang mahal pa nung iba.
Kailangan niya i-block out like 0 fees sa mga batch go para di na kailangan mag-book transfer. Para tapos yung lahat na may charge, okay, under LSCS na account para di na tayo ma-problem. Yeah. In my time naman, I would say challenge is really keeping the consistency throughout all the terms. Kasi one thing I noticed in LSCS, the always challenge that we're having is always in terms of documents. Like, as life, ganun. So, we always get delayed. Tapos parang problem natin, kailangan ba matutuloy ba talaga yung event natin? Kailan ba lalabas yung document na approved? So, yun yung parang, in our year, dapat lagi 1 week before. So, docu needs to in charge, follow up. Kung hindi niya ipasa yan 1 week before, mahirap natin yan kasi all the pubs need to request it in advance. Documents need to be processed. So parang yun yung parang naging standard. So tapos there's a way like usually naman kasi documents is like some of them are consistent throughout the year. So you have a point of reference. So parang sabi ko, gamitin nila point of reference yung last year. At least parang yung feel ko, the reason that officers get burned out is like, documents. So parang yun yung keeping consistency na, push na wag na kayo problema sa document na try to submit it as early as possible lagi. So, di tayo problema sa event kasi I feel like there's more quality in the event pag na-approve nila yung document. So, I think the hard part is really how do you push officers to always submit everything on time and try to meet the deadline para di di tayo problema eventually at the end na, tutuloy ba natin yung event?
And I think important nga yung templating. Totoo yun. Kasi meron yung mga, di ba, every quarter, every midterms, yung meron tayong reviewer, yung mga ganyan, yung mga group studies. So, meron mga staple programs din talaga yung LSCS na kailangan yung documents mo, since alam mong gagawin mo na siya next sem, prepared na siya. Pero yun, challenge, actually, additional challenge pa is, ayaw mo din na mabore yung mga tao na paulit-ulit din yung programs mo every sem. So parang how do you spice it up na parang to ginawa ko to na parang ganito ako mag-aaral. Pero paano yung mga gustong mag-aaral pero have fun with it. So minsan may mga activities kami na scavenger hunt tapos para yung ibang station doon may isosolve ka na programming stuff tapos yung o kaya ayusin mo yung mga spare parts ng PC or something. Sobrang lumang story. Pero ayun, totoo yun. Ang ganda nung hearing yung sa process na na-improve nyo talaga and parang may production line na kayo. Ang hirap nga ng documents. Bakit ganon? Pero na-prepare kayo sa work, no? Important siya pagka-graduate.
Yeah. Ako actually, isa sa pasaway na officers ni Bertel na hindi maaga na nagsasubmit. Tapos problema ko na din siya ngayon. Napifeel ko na.
La karma.
Yeah.
Sa akin naman, actually yung time ko, more of naging problem ko yata is yung breaking the, yung, ang tawag, what's the word for it? Yung stigma actually, or yung impression sa LSCS na about computer lang or about ACADS lang lahat ng ginagawa. Or even if yung pag-officer ka, there's this fear na sobrang galing yan, ganyan. So parang gusto ko i-break yun. That's why during that time, ang naging extra challenge for me was yung how to entice the officers to be more involved, how to entice the members to be more involved. So I really focus yung efforts sa pag-execute ng mga academic pa rin technically, pero more of relationship building activities. So yung nag-execute kami ng mga alumni cafe such that the mga kumbaga yung mga students, they get to interact with alumni. Tapos they can ask about experiences from the real industry, ganyan. So more of what can you get outside the classroom. In the same way, sa JOs din, hindi ko sure kung ni-keep ninyo, pero yung pagsasign sa mga officers, yun. So in-integrate namin yun during that year para mas mabuild yung relationship ng officers and junior officers. Kasi they always had an impression na seniors, nakakatakot yan. Ganon. So, parang, or tendency is pagka senior ka na, you're too occupied with ACADS or executing yung activities diba? So, less time to interact with yung mga proshies and junior officers. So, through that small activity, they can interact more. And yun, parang mas nakita ko na na-build talaga yung bond. And I think na-enjoy din naman nila. So, yun.
Yeah. Actually, that's one of the things that parang as JOs, that's what they look forward to if naging officer na sila. Parang, I can't wait na ako na yung magpapasign. Anong dare yung papagawa ko sa mga JOs. Ganun. So, sadly lang na online, we had to remove that part na, like, kasi mas mahirap sa online, parang through emails, question mark, or like, how would you implement yung interaction na yun through signing. So, ayun, hopefully, babalik pa rin siya once na bumalik na sa face-to-face. Ayun.
The views and opinions of the hosts and resource persons do not represent those of the organization, the university, and its stakeholders. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so we've talked about like our experiences, like your guys' experiences regarding LSCS in the past. How about like, are you up to date with what's happening with LSCS right now? Like, in all honesty, okay lang kahit hindi. Just curious lang din.
Ako kasi ni-follow ko yata yung pages ng LSCS. So, more or less in the loop ako with the things that happening, like redesign of Maki. Tapos,
yeah.
I think you have online activities then. So, I often see them in my scroll actually. Tapos, I think, kasi I live here in UN lang eh. So, malapit lang siya sa Lasal. So, I actually met a few of your officers then. And actually, share na ulit sa akin din mag-attend dito. So, yun.
Mm-hmm. That's nice to hear. Actually, we wanted to ask them, parang, what do you guys think of LSCS right now? Like, what's the impression that LSCS gives? Kahit not very specific, or kahit certain events lang, or like LSCS in general.
I get updated when you post something in the alumni Facebook group. So, yun lang yung source of update ko. But what I appreciate is yun nga, you're keeping us connected still. Recently, there were a lot of engagement from alumni and excitement on looking back. So just continue doing that. I think we have a good network of alumni, very strong industry leaders also, and let's probably bring them together once the pandemic is over.
I think it grew so much from my year kasi yung year before me and the previous years LSCS kind of sunk down. Parang it used to be like one of the best organizations sa CSO, like everyone was looking up to it. Tapos parang we wanted it to go back to that pero we didn't know how. So parang it was always our goal to be back on the top 10. Tapos, yun nga, na-update ako dito sa dalawang presidents na to, kay Raisa at kay Bertel, na parang every year, it just keeps getting better. Tapos sobrang nakaka-proud kasi it's back to that state na parang golden ages na ulit ni LSCS. And it's so nice na parang, dati, no one knew us. Parang, dati yung mga sikat na org was yung sa engineering kasi these are really big colleges. CCS was never a big college. It's always a small college na parang gets coupled with SOE or CED. So parang magugulat ka na this organization from this small college na parang people just think are nerds, parang branches out na parang other people know them. And sometimes there are other members of the org then that are not from CCS, and that's really cool to see kasi parang it means na you're not just catering to your own group of people but to others who are also interested in these things but doesn't want to make it, I guess, their career, which is, I think, should be the goal of organizations. It's not just yung magiging career mo or just to help you academically but also to help hone your interest kasi this can be your passion also. It's just na hindi mo siya. Of course, may isang officer ata before, shifty kasi siya, limutan ko yung pangalan niya, pero marketing siya or COB, tapos naging officer siya ng LSCS, and I think I would like to see more of that kasi those people from other colleges really gives better input na parang yun talaga outside GOX. So parang maganda rin to get integrated with other colleges and more tie-ups with other orgs.
Agree then. We also try to improve on that part then, yung reaching out to other colleges. And we have like members from engineering and also COB. Like we also have one JO from COB na parang they heard of our R&D committee. Tapos nalaman nila, yung R&D committee nagko-code ng websites for others. Tapos sobrang na-interest siya. So kahit, I think second year na yung student, like nag-JO pa din siya sa LSCS. And she was really interested in the committee. And ang nakakataba lang ng puso mga those moments. Ayun.
Impression ko kay LSCS now, kahit na few years lang ago when I left it, it really grew. Kasi na-mention nyo yung dati LSCS was yung top org ng CSO. Actually, nung time ko, parang dream ba lang yata na top 10 siya. Tapos ngayon, nakaka-top 1, top 2, what else? It's amazing that you're able to reach that goal. Apart from yung ranking sa CSO, I think kasi pandemic it's extra challenging. And yet, what amazes me for LSCS is that you continue to be innovative and you adapt to the challenges that were given to you. So you turn that challenge into an opportunity to expand yung social media accounts natin. Nakikita ko parang mas nabubuhay na siya. And even yung YouTube and even doing this podcast, I really recognize the effort that you put into it. And yun, nakakataba rin ng puso that despite yung isolation natin from one another, you still go beyond the box and reach out to the members of LSCS. So good job.
Thank you.
I think I'm the closest to the generation. But yeah, so much things has changed. Yeah, so it's nice that there's really adoption. There's really new changes, new inspiration from the activities that I didn't imagine could be done before. And I'm glad, from what I've heard at least, that the integration with the Laguna campus has been more developed right now. So I'm glad that initially, I think 2012, we started the Laguna campus, or 2015 maybe. I'm not really sure of the year. But it's so good to leverage this online opportunity. Kasi yun yung one of the challenges that I'm having is how do I make them feel more involved during that time? And I'm glad. I mean, of course, not saying that this situation is good, but given our current situation, it's nice that we leverage this opportunity to make the Laguna campus feel more involved in what we're doing generally, rather than them recognized as two separate branches all the time. So it's a community now, talaga na LSCS only. It's not about LSCS staff, LSCS Laguna, but one LSCS.
Yay. And that's so nice to hear. And also na parang, like, the goals that we have, like, it's also parang the same parang as the goals that you guys had for LSCS before. And parang some of the goals you had that we are also achieving na rin right now. It's so nice to hear yung mga ganun. Ayun na. And I also wanted to ask Sana, like, if there are like projects in the past na you would like, or parang you wish na sana nangyayari pa din. Like, parang yung isang naisip ko ngayon yung na-mention kanina, like, build your own PC. That's something na parang, like, for us, hindi namin yung maiisip as an activity, but it sounds interesting. And, like, if bumalik, I can see the faces of the others already that are participating. Pag bumalik to face, and then we did something like that. And then others don't know what to do. That would be me, not knowing what to do. Are there any like activities in the past, or siguro kahit ideas lang ganun na parang you would want to see LSCS parang try to bring back or try to execute ganun?
I'm not sure if you still do the reboot program now, Rebecca. Ganun pa
I
bang
don't
ganun?
think
Yung
so.
parang recollection. Retreat.
Yes. So we started that during our time. Ang haba na ng history. No? But we realized that we do so much for our intended audience, or the computer science community. But minsan napapabayaan din natin yung internal officers. So we organized that reboot. It's basically a retreat for the officers. So something to think if kaya pa ba siyang gawin this time.
Yan, may iyakan yan, yung sharing ng feelings, ng struggles, ganyan. Di ba yun yung mga pag-retreat?
Oh, may ganun pala before. I think sa amin, like, nasa isip lang namin, it's something na ma-experience mo academically because of Lazare, like Lazare 3. you may retreat. So it's something na hindi naisip. But yeah, I think that would actually help officers, especially parang hearing na a lot of officers get burned out then. I think that would help. Ayun. Wow.
Madaming staple activities yung LSCS, right? I think meron kayo yung plug in your request, yung clip, yung tech summit is still being done, yung techno kids, yung I think gusto ko yung every general assembly. Meron kasi kaming one thing na ginawa ng general assembly. Parang meron pa ba yung mga pasikatchan for the student government?
Oh, ngayon wala na ata. Yeah.
Parang
When I heard of pasikatchan, like memory na lang siya. It's not existing
talaga.
anymore.
So kasi yung CSG, for the CCS month, they have for each year, kasi 3-year course lang kami dati, di ba? So yung first year, gagawin nila kung anong gusto nila. Yung second years would do something. I forgot
Acoustic
yung
night,
name.
diba?
Acoustic night. Tapos yung
Oo.
third year yung pasikatchan kasi sila yung graduate.
Tapos
So-
fourth year yung huling hirit ata. Yun yung bago introduction, yung huling hirit.
So kasi nga CCS month, tapos sabi ko team building, team general assembly. Ayoko magpatalo. So sabi ko, gusto ko rin meron din tayo. Gusto ko rin parang may acoustic night din tayo. So kapag general assembly, ginagawa namin siyang competition. Doon din nag-start yung Golden Gox Awards. Kaya parang kasi wala, pasikat eh. Na-joke lang. Hindi, parang make every general assembly, like not just fun and games, pero like add a twist to it. Kasi, I mean, imagine going to assemblies para lang mag-announce ng project. So like, have it more interactive sana. Yun lang yung gusto ko sana ma-maintain before eh. Like, kapag CCS month, aside from tech summit, like do something big na parang no one would expect from LSCS.
Yeah. Gets. I think for general assemblies, what we keep right now is more of games. Yun na yung pina-interaction namin. But I like yung concept of make each general assembly like do something different. It keeps the people coming. Ayun.
Actually, yung una, yun yung marami. Tapos pabawas ng pabawas, di ba?
Yeah, that's true. Nung time, like nung face-to-face also, I think it started with Bertel's year. Parang what we look forward to is the food. Tapos Jollibee pa yung food namin. Tapos paminsan may mga sobra. So may mga officers na, like especially yung mga taga-condo, may mga officers na mag-uuwi ng mga 3-4 na Chicken Joy and Coke from General Assemblies. Ulam na nila for the next few days sa condo. Ayun. That's one of the memories that we have in General Assemblies na nakakamiss.
May pa-food sila.
Yeah, we have budget now.
One event yung sa akin, yung pinaka na-enjoy ko. It's like the first pilot talaga, like Code in the Dark. It's like an event that was inspired online. Like nakikita mo like how do you code in the dark yung CCS web programming, like
CSS.
CSS programming. Like nakikita ko siya online, like I have friends like from the industry na nagko-code in the dark talaga. Like it's a night or a day na naka-turn off yung lights, tapos may papakita sa yung picture, tapos i-code mo talaga, like no compile. Tapos at the end, like i-compile mo one time lang. Kung sino yung pinaka-closest, i-judge ng mga tao. So parang yun yung parang sobrang na entice ako na wow, nagawa natin. Like first time, no one ever did this before. Tapos sobrang fun yung night na yan. Tapos may incentive yung web up the class kasi web up that time. Pero that event itself is parang sobrang memorable kasi I just imagined it like during my year na nakikita ko to sa ibang places. I want to do it in LSCS kasi sobrang unique. Tapos nagawa namin, the event was so great. So many participants joined, a lot of viewers, a lot of people who joined the competition itself. So parang sabi ko, I want this to continue throughout the years. Pero I think nag-pandemic na ata after. So parang, sayang. But that event was super fun, like super memorable.
Yeah. Actually, agree ako dun. Kasi ako isa sa participants. I got a 3.5 from Mabapte dun. Because of it.
Actually, maganda nga ng more competitions kasi I think before yung staple lang was Clash of the Brains. Tapos, meron pa ba kayo nun?
Clash of the Brains, I think may time na nawala. Tapos Bertel brought it back.
Okay.
And then, no time, parang after that, pandemic.
So, yung normal kasi before was Clash of the Brains. Tapos, we were trying dati kasi makipag-close sa mga taga-NE. So, sabi namin, hackathon. So, yun. Parang meron kami mini hackathon nun. Pero, si Sir Ralph kasi, one of the professors before, alam ko parang pinipush niya yun for, kasi may CSNES before, for NE students. So, may mga tie-ups with them na sila yung nagpo-push ng mga ganong klaseng events. So, maganda rin to have yung ganon. Parang showcase of talents of each specializations. Tapos, may escape room. Then kami nag-tinry gawin pero hindi kami successful. Ewan ko kung may nakagawa sa inyo. Pero para makaalis sa room. Pero tapos yung mga hidden clues is yung mga codes. Hindi codes, pero like anything related sa CCS. Parang it's a nice plan kaso parang ang hirap kasi i-execute. So ginawa na lang namin siyang para scavenger hunt. Pero I would love to see parang an escape room sa one of the classrooms. Parang nakakulong lang mga estudyante doon.
Yeah. Actually, we started having some escape rooms. One of the other arts Sprint has one, yung Mystery Box na happens every year. Tapos they also did it online. I don't know how. I think may website sila na ginagawa for it, which is really interesting. And then for us naman sa LSCS, we have JOs na isa sa mga events na naisip talaga din nila or like yung mga breakout rooms, escape rooms, kanon. Ayun. Tapos it's fun to see them prepare and all that. Ang daming details that goes into it. But then sa dulo, like, ang saya lang tingnan. Yeah.
Hindi ko sure kung natuloy ninyo yung apart from yung room, meron din yatang JOs din ba nag-execute nun? Pero board game nights and yung mga movie nights. So parang lang siya. Of course, chill for members to bond and create memories medyo outside din naman ng computer-related.
Yeah. Sa amin ngayon, online games.
Meron din.
Yeah. Everything's online. I'm sad.
Yep,
Pero yeah,
okay
at least we get to bond with members pa din. Yeah. With all that, like, we've discussed yung past and also, like, the changes that happened this present. Parang in your own perspective, how has LSCS changed? Like, for the better?
Definitely ang pangit naman pag sinabi mo for the worst. Siyempre hindi. Parang every year, it just keeps getting better naman. Parang you always see, like, yung sino ba yung kunwari, ikaw yung president. Siyempre, yung next na ibibigyan mo ng role, the next set of officers that you'll hire, when you screen them, siyempre, you'll see yung passion nila. And I think it's nice to see that every year there's always these sets of people that that are so interested, that are so ready to take up this responsibility that they don't need to take naman. Kasi mahirap maging CCS student actually. So parang ang galing kasi kaya nyo pang i-manage. So it's always nice to see na parang every year naki-carry out nila yung dream mo for this organization. Like I think yung binagbasahan ko ng presidency si Arnil, nung hindi siya ready nun parang sabi niya, hindi ko alam kung JO ba siya or parang assistant by AVP, sorry. Or AVP lang. Tapos parang sabi niya, ba't ako? Parang Parang every year, you trust someone that will take care of this organization, and it's always so nice na parang nag-grow lang siya hanggang kay Miggy Torres, kay Raisa, kay Bertel. Hindi ko alam yung mga sumunod, kung accurate ba yung mga sinabi ko na names. Pero ang ganda nung growth and progression. Never nag-die down yung hype. I mean, kung compare mo sa year namin, ang layo ng growth ng LSCS. Ang ingay. Maingay na siya.
Yeah, I think it's nice naman na na-continue. Parang yung year ko rin is like, LSCS, yung goal ko is like to be the top organization of choice in CCS. Like, and I think nakikeep up pa rin naman na a lot of people keep joining, a lot of people continue to, despite JO lang, they keep going up. So I think that's what's nice na maintain pa rin, because it really requires a lot of effort to parang be the top choice of organization to join in the CCS organization, given na usually naglalaban kayo ng mga officers na alin ba yung organization, parang mababurnout ako, limited lang yung pipiliin ko. And I'm glad that LSCS is always one of the top choices by the people.
Tapos pansinin mo yung reasons namin for joining LSCS. Pareho kami ni JB, oh. Wala naman kami ng balak before. Tapos kahit kay Raisa, wala rin siyang balak. Tapos kayong dalawa, parang iba na yung reason nyo. Kasi gusto nyo talaga. So parang it's a great, I think that's a good tangent already to see how LSCS is changing. Kasi people are starting to want it.
That's actually super nice to hear. And then from that, what do you expect from LSCS moving forward pa? Pressuring.
Si Bertel ba yung pumili sa'yo to be the president?
No, si
Hindi
Ivan.
ba?
Yeah, so
is
there's
next
one more
eh.
between. Yeah.
Dapat siya magsabis ng expectation sa'yo kasi di ba? From the most recent. Kasi yung akin outdated na na-achieve na nila eh.
Pressure on your Bertel.
Sa akin, expectation, yeah, I think it's really yung most challenges is really that how do we maintain the consistency, like throughout the years we still maintain the consistency and really being able to involve the Laguna campus, kasi yun yung one of my biggest goals in my years, to really integrate the Laguna campus, and I've been trying really effort. It's hard to make them feel involved, so parang once a term I go to the Laguna campus, and given that it's online setting, they get to be involved more. So I think it's really being able to achieve now versus the time I had. And yeah, I think yung mga in-introduce ko na times of new templates, new stuffs, it's really being passed down like continuously. So I think it's really nice to see that there's a consistency despite the transition in years.
So yun yung pressure for the next. Keep up yung consistency. Joke lang.
Siguro sa akin, like, just to add yung consistency ni Bertel. Like, in a way, nagiging tradition siya eh. Diba? Pero just to add yung expectation, siguro don't be afraid to add your own flavor to the organization. Kasi for everyone here who actually shared their experience with LSCS, feeling ko they added their personality into LSCS. And yun yung siguro expectation ko for the younger generation, to keep adding. And kumbaga personality yan eh. It's a flavor of personality where you get to really make the most out of the diversity of people. So just keep on playing with it until you get something wonderful from it.
Yeah, that's actually so nice. It's like that's what will make the organization interesting each year.
Yeah, and to quickly add on that lang, is like I love yung part na our president doesn't really always come from one section, like lagi internals lang, lagi operations, or lagi externals, because that's the thing that adds the flavor to the LSCS presidency. Like, what is it that you really can improve? Kasi kung galing ka certain department, you know best how to improve that area, but not necessarily the entire org. So if a different president steps up, oh, this has been improved here. I see new areas to improve. Yun yung nice thing about it.
Actually, yun nga rin yung vision ng president before me. Kaya yun nga, out of nowhere, binigay niya sa akin. Kasi it's a refresh of what, yun nga, there will come a time na paulit-ulit na lang yung ginagawa sa organization. And kasi nga, you have your templates, you have your staple projects. Pero parang each year, you have to give something new. So parang, you have to step out of your comfort zone. Kung homegrown, minsan kasi yung mga homegrowns, even sa work ka, even sa corporate world, when you're too comfortable with where you are, you forget to grow, to step out, and to think of new things. So parang, kasi nagagawa na yun, ganyan. Parang, it's always nice to to keep being creative, keep finding ways. Yun nga. And also, at the same time, keep the inclusivity to everyone. Kasi always remember na parang although ang goal is initially is yung members lang ng LSCS, di ba? But we want, yung vision is to be there for everyone in CCS, not just or everyone na interested in what we're doing. So parang yun pa is something na gusto kong i-add, is parang just be open to everyone.
That's so nice. And hope our future officers can, get inspiration from those then sa future events ng LSCS. And so before we close, actually, di pa pala, last two pa. So, ayun. Sir, what's that one thing that LSCS was able to help you with in terms of how did LSCS help you become the person you are today?
Oh, Miss Universe yung tanong niya.
Yeah.
I was a very bad student, actually. Muntik, I have a lot of units of failure. So, hindi kasi ako, ewan ko, alam mo yung student that's very confident na papasa ako without studying. So, I was that type of student, pero hindi ako smart. So, bumabaksak ako. So ganun ako. And I think nung pumasok ako sa LSCS, it is also with the help of yun nga, yung si social civic tsaka actually everyone in the team, parang they inspire you to become better people, and they remind you being surrounded with people with this amount of passion and drive for an organization or for just basically caring for what the student needs, kasi di mo naman kailangan gawin yun yung mga extracurriculars. Why would you, kesa makapaglaro ka na lang ng I guess Dota or Mobile Legends yan sa tabi, bakit maglalakad ka pa ng papers? Ito na nga lang yung break ko from studying. So parang they will inspire you na parang to take a responsibility for the good of other people. Kasi the projects that you're doing, it's not for yourself. I mean, bakit yung mga tutorials, mga group review, wala naman magigain dyan. Pwede mo naman yan gawin with your friends. Eh. Pero the fact na parang there are these people that are willing to do something for others, I think na-inspire ako to do better. So parang I wanted to stay in CCS longer. I wanted to see yung parang inaayos ko na rin yung academic life ko, yung prioritizing things, not just doing things for myself, but also do things for others. And I think I've carried that out until nag-work ako. Was always do, kasi one thing that's important is if you do something without passion, wala siyang kwenta. You're just doing things na tatapos mo lang yung task mo. But when you do things with passion and when you do things with the amount of love that you would do with any other thing that you like, hindi mo siya mararamdaman, and it will always be high quality.
What stick to me will be being more creative. No? Kanina I shared yung example of the LSCS 20th anniversary. That's just one of the challenges that we had to go through during our year. But every time you will find a way to parang solve the problem. So parang it's not losing hope, but also being resourceful, being creative, leveraging your network para overcome yung mga challenges. So I think that's one of the biggest learnings I got from LSCS.
Siguro sa akin, biggest thing that I learned from LSCS is little things matter. Kasi ako talaga when I first entered college, sobrang shy ko. As in, actually hanggang ngayon naman yata shy ako. Pero like, but when I entered LSCS, dun ko na-realize na you get to meet a lot of people and then you recognize each other and you get these little ideas and you build things from those little ideas and you make something big out of that. So the little things, the little actions that all the officers do, all the people that you interact with, they make a difference and they can actually make history. And they, apart from history, build a possible future out of that also. So yun yung na-learn ko. Even from this day sa work din, ina-apply ko siya. So even if sometimes I feel that medyo you start from the bottom when you enter yung industry. Pero as much as nasa baba ka pa, your voice matters and your ideas really matter. So as long as you have the confidence to voice those out, even if sometimes you feel that they're small, they can actually make a change.
So nice, and I agree with that actually. Very true.
So for me naman, LSCS has changed me a lot. It opened a lot of opportunities for me. So in terms of growing, being able to learn more proper time management, learning communication, all of those were skills that could not be learned inside the classroom. You really have to join organizations, get exposure, experience, how you plan ahead, how you do proper scheduling, planning, especially in work as well. You really need those. How do you estimate like deadlines? What if something happens? You need to be flexible, agile. So those are the things that you really learn in organizations that you cannot learn in simple classrooms, because you really just stick with academics, deliver your deliverables, then done. So in org, you get to experience something more different than the normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to share then from my end, like, I think, well, I'm not yet out of college, but kahit na I'm still like in my journey pa rin in LSCS, well, about to end, but and still there, like LSCS has helped a lot na din for me personally. Like I thought before na, I can work well with people, like early on, like that's what I thought. But then going into LSCS, you get to meet more people. Then you realize na, you're not quite there yet talaga. Thus you learn more about that. That's actually really interesting. And LSCS really has helped me as well in growing in that aspect, yung sa soft skills. Yun. And I truly, like, I cannot imagine as well what my college life would be if I didn't join LSCS. And so before we close off this podcast, like, are there any final messages that you want to share with our current members, officers, and also some alumni that maybe you want to give a shout out to as well?
I think for the current students, parang I want them to not skip to try their best to attend yung activities, not because I'm trying to help you guys, pero Because yung activities would be the best memories that you would have sa college life. I think whenever I reflect kung ano bang mga pinagagawa ko nung college, it's not just yung thesis na naaalala ko. Kasi you will only remember like a few events nung college. And parang yung pinaka-memorable would always be thesis and org activities. Kasi parang yung org activities, hindi mo na yan may experience after you graduate. Like going out with friends is normal yan. Yeah, any other time you can do that. Pero yung events sa school, hindi mo minsan ni-expect. Isipin mo corny pag estudyante ka pa lang eh. Pero you'll appreciate it once you graduate. It will really help hone you as a person in different situations. Joining orgs, I think I wouldn't be the type of person ngayon if I hadn't joined LSCS, the student government, kasi they really prepare you with meeting different types of people. So it's always nice na parang to branch out, not just from your from what you're comfortable with sa mga blockmates mo, but try to like meet new people and explore new hobbies that you may develop during college. Like don't be afraid kasi college is like the best time that you can do those things. Kasi when you're working, minsan you don't have time for anything else but work, and parang it's yun nga, college is the time for that. Tapos yung mga officers, huwag kayong mapagod sa documents. Yung finance lalo. Finance is like the worst branch. Sorry sa ibang mga officers, pero lagi kong sinashoutout yung finance people kasi sila yung pinakamahirap na ginagawa lagi. I mean, even with yung I work with ERP kasi, so parang yung module na pinaka nahihirapan ako is finance, and pag nakikita ko minsan yung module, yung mga ledgers, ginagawa yan dati ng officer ko sa LSCS. So like, I get to link that with that. So that's a good start. Tapos yun, shout out dun sa friend ko na si yung sa social civic. Siya yun talagang one of the best, parang all of my best memories in college was with her. So parang yun. And also dun sa friend ko no 115 sa COB.
Yeah, it's really about mostly try to join events, try to be an officer, try a lot of things in college, especially join LSCS events, activities, host events, because yeah, there are those events similar na what Sab said, na you might forget some of the things, but you might recall some other things. But definitely the experience you have in joining these organizations, the way that you feel, the way that you grow as a person in these organizations is really one of the best experiences that you'll gain in college. So that's why parang everyone who you invite here naman, there's too much memories. But the feeling, the experience, it's all the same na. It's really one of the best things that happened to me in college. And that's the nice thing, that you don't get college opportunities twice. It only happens once. So might as well take all the opportunity you can get exposed, join organizations, join events, take as much as opportunity as you can in your college days, because it might not have the same experience twice when you graduate.
Sa akin, LSCS, as much as it's an org, it's always been a family to me. By family, I mean kasama dyan yung mga kalokohan, like drama. But despite those, it's a family that's always worth the effort and time and yung passion na pour in ng mga officers. It's a family that's gonna teach you so much beyond yung may imagine mo when you first entered college. And I hope yung mga current and future members ng LSCS, they get to experience that kind of family as well. Hindi siya yung basta kwento lang kasi for each person, it's a different story. And I hope they get to experience that kind of story with LSCS as well. And then shout out sa mga officers during, I guess, the year 2015 to 2017. Like, sobrang dami nila to even mention because sila talaga nag-spark ng passion ko for until now, even sa work, yung mga shinare nila sa akin na as much as sinasabi nila na marami ako shinare sa kanila, mas marami ako na-learn from them. And it's always gonna be something that I bring outside college even. So, yeah.
I echo what Sabrina, Bertel, and Raisa said. No, college is a discovery years. So try to just explore for those who are listening na hindi pa super involved sa LSCS. Just explore, try LSCS, try other orgs, get as much experience as you can so that you figure out what you really want to do after college. Practically, for me, LSCS was able to give me a lot of stories that I shared during my job interviews, during my first few years. No, yun na naman yung baon mo when you start to look for jobs is your experience in college. So make sure you have those stories to share when you start looking for employment. But for the current LSCS officers and for the future LSCS officers, being an organization that caters to technologies and technology continues to evolve. So I hope to see that LSCS also continues to evolve, experiment, and become also the one of ito na yung wish ko sa inyo, no, or for the LSCS brand to eventually be known as a pioneer or an innovator for the Philippines, no, not only within LaSalle but across the country. So bring more technologies, experiment with more technology, and bring the flag of the Philippines beyond our campuses. So yun.
Hey, thank you so much for all your messages. Like, it's very heartwarming, and I hope that our listeners do take these into account or parang take note of these, and parang you bring these lessons that parang they've learned together with you in your college journey. So yeah, so from today's discussion, we were able to see how LSCS has grown through the years and how an organization could have such an impact in our lives. So we hope that you guys also enjoyed your stay in LSCS, and that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Nook podcast. Thank you.
The views and opinions of the hosts and resource persons do not represent those of the organization, the university, and its stakeholders. Viewer discretion is advised.